Smoking Dank Sinatra, that's all gas. On the hunt in a tall grass. Intercepting every ball pass, then I run it back, that's a TD. Check the scoreboard, y'all last. We up one, you see me. Pussy niggas wanna talk about it, go to Hellcat, no demon. I be politicking on your broadcast, got the red carpet like the famous homie. Ask your bitch, really famous homie, and you know it's in me, it ain't on me. So creative like I made Adobe. I've been balling like I played with Kobe.
What's the deal? What's the deal? PolitiKan the podcast. We back again, live Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Let's get to these topics, man. So for the first topic, we got which player could have possibly been in the GOAT conversation if it wasn't for injuries. Then we got to get to the Bronny James news, man. LeBron James Jr., Bronny James, suffered cardiac arrest while at practice at USC. Justin Herbert signs a $258 million deal, making him the highest paid player in NFL history. G Herbo pleads guilty to using stolen credit cards to buy chains, jewelry, go on trips, buy Airbnbs, and more. And Hunter Biden. There's probes for Hunter Biden taking bribe money from other countries. And now, as they investigate him, his legal team contacted the clerk's office and tried to impersonate the opposing lawyer's office defense and got caught up. So now they have to explain why they did that. This shit wild, man. What's the deal? What's the deal? We got the team in here. The famous homie, Amrock, Yaziketi, Devontae. So let's get to this first topic, man. And I want to start with you, y'all. Since we already know your answer, so let's just get it out the way.
Y'all sure about that? Y'all sure about that?
How much time we got?
Did you wear the jersey for this?
I sure did.
This is your moment.
So first topic. What player would be in the GOAT conversation if it wasn't for injuries? What up, y'all?
I've been waiting for this for years to be able to give my boy his roses. No pun intended. But before, all right, okay. Before I get started, I just need some clarification first from you, Caleb. And my clarification that I need is, we talking about you will be in the GOAT conversation if you weren't injured. I just want to make sure. We're talking about you being the GOAT if you weren't injured.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Now, I got a question for the panel right quick. And the question is, and this isn't rhetorical neither, what is the highest achievement an active player can have as an individual?
MVP.
Cap. Championship.
Finals MVP.
There you go. Championship.
No. You can, championship is a team.
As a player, we're talking about the greatest individual. A championship is still a team thing.
Well, finals MVP,
that's not a team award.
But finals MVP is an individual award. Mm-hmm.
Championship.
Okay,
is,
yeah.
If you're a star that leads yourself team to a championship, that's your award.
Yeah, the finals.
That's why Jordan's a GOAT, because he won 6 championships. That's why.
The question was, what individual award is considered the highest award as an active player? Ding ding ding!
Any player
I heard it.
Have an MVP or a championship, and
that's not the question. We staying on topic here, ladies and gentlemen. The question was individual award. I heard Amrock say it. He said finals MVP. I heard Caleb said it. He said MVP. Right? Those are the highest achievements a player can have. Now, everybody that is watching this, my panel of people on here are going to give you Grant Hill. They're going to give you maybe Tracy McGrady. They may say Paul George. They may say Odin. They may say Brandon Roy. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Did any of those players win MVP? The answer to that is no. None of them won MVP. Now, let's back it up a little more. Oh, I'm juicing right now. Okay, let's back it up a little more. We're talking about GOAT conversation. You cannot be considered a GOAT if you don't even have an MVP. I mean, none of them have final MVPs. So let's go to the next greatest MVP, and that's at least a regular season MVP. Regular season MVP is better than your all teams. Regular season MVP is better than your all-star appearances. Regular season is better than your defensive championship, your scoring championship. MVP is the highest award given. Guess what? You know my boy Derrick Rose won that in his 3rd year in the league. Oh, wait. How many of y'all people win an MVP? Okay, keep going, y'all. Keep going. Point number 2 that we're getting with this. Let me just speed it up a little bit. Okay, so we're talking about injuries too, right? Because I know I've been on this panel plenty of time. I know you new on here, Devontae, and everything like that. But I've been on this planet. I mean, me and you talk all the time too. But I've been on this panel plenty of times, and I've talked to people all the time. And when I mention the name Derrick Rose, what's the first thing that come out of people's mouth? Oh, he's injury prone. So injury is connected with the guy's name. Could you put back up what's the name of this topic? Go conversation. If you were injured, it's associated with Derrick Rose, just like load management is associated with Kawhi Leonard. Keep going, y'all. So Derrick Rose got injured in his 4th season. So the people that you guys bring up, if you bring up a Grant Hill, you know they really didn't count his injury until 2000, right? 2000. He played more than four seasons before he was considered his prime. So Derrick Rose never hit his prime, ladies and gentlemen. He never hit his prime. The Derrick Rose that you've seen dominating the league never hit his prime. I'll just end it a little early because all you guys are going to talk about what you're going to talk about, but how you going to talk about a GOAT conversation if your people can't even win an MVP award? I mean, damn, you need the MVP award at least to be in GOAT conversations, right? I mean, we didn't consider Steph Curry a legitimate, even though I have. He wasn't legitimate till he got an MVP. None of y'all players got an MVP. Matter of fact, let's throw in Magic Johnson. You know, AIDS. You know, maybe that stopped his career. But guess what? He wasn't injured by his 4th season. Ooh. GOAT conversation if injuries. You never seen a healthy Derrick Rose, and he did more than any player that you would name. Last thing, and I'll let it go.
Come on, you killing it. Around the corner.
Wait. I got it. Okay.
On this Derrick Rose rant.
Last couple things. A decade later, my boy scored 50 points. A decade later, not even in his prime no more, going against modern day players, scored 50 points against a defensive player of the year and Donovan Mitchell, which everybody on this panel, and I especially know you, Caleb, would take Donovan Mitchell on your team because you would take James Harden on your team in a heartbeat. So don't say he didn't do it against trash players. He scored 50 points against him. And then last thing I would say, and I'll just let it go, is when he got traded to the Knicks weren't even a playoff team. They weren't even in the play-in tournament. He turned them into the 4th round, and he averaged 19 points in the playoffs as well. So when y'all talk about y'all GOATs, how are you? Oh, wait, last one. Wait. This will be my last thing, and I'll let it go. The GOAT we consider is Michael Jordan. You know, Derrick Rose broke Jordan's record of the Bulls single season scoring. in just 3 seasons? Just saying. So whoever your GOAT is, not only did Derrick Rose was considered the youngest MVP, that means he got the MVP award before Kobe, before Jordan, before Kareem, before Wilt, before everybody else. He was not even in his peak, and he got an MVP award. Talk to me when your favorite player got things that is considered in the GOAT category. I am done. Derrick Rose, you are the shit.
Yeah, I'm you know, thank you.
Who got music playing in the background?
Thank you, y'all, for that's probably me. Thank you, y'all, for your soliloquy. Greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome. I love you.
And yes, you are right. Out of all of these guys, Derrick Rose does have the MVP. So I mean, look, my approach to this is, who could potentially have been in that GOAT conversation or had a better career if the injuries did not happen. I'm gonna go a different route. I mean, like you said, we can name a whole bunch of players: Grant Hill, Greg Oden. I'm looking at the list of guys right now. Amari Stoudemire, Jamal Crawford, Bernard King, Ralph Sampson. There's a lot of great players that got hurt where they could have been even more great. But I'm gonna say Penny Hardaway. Let's throw his name in the hat as well. What he was doing, what him and Shaq was about to do, in Orlando. They did make it to a finals, and then the next year losing to the Bulls in their pursuit to try to get back. Everybody, knows if you saw the documentary, of course, Shaq left and went to LA, but, Shaq ultimately was like, knowing what I know now, I probably wouldn't have left. I probably would have stayed in Orlando because that was the place that drafted him. And then, a year later, they was able to draft or trade for, they drafted Chris Webber and then traded for Penny Hardaway. And, that was a great tandem for that short period of time. And I think Penny Hardaway, we see the Westbrooks of the world today. And he was, that prototype, he was that guy first, so other than Magic Johnson, of course, that athletic, big point guard. And so I would throw Penny Hardaway in there, but, of course, like I said, you are, correct with Derrick Rose having the MVP. Of course, Penny Hardaway didn't have that. I think he made first team all NBA a couple of years as well. But I would say Penny Hardaway had the potential to be a better player than he was, and to do special things in the league had he not gotten hurt.
I like Penny.
I like Penny. I like that pick. What you got for me, Devontae?
Wow, I'm still trying to recover from that. I just want.
I can keep going if you need me to.
Nah, we good, bro. We good, fam. We strong. And besides, we knew Joakim Noah and Lou Alden carried those teams anyway. But
wow.
Don't forget a young Jimmy.
Come on.
Oh wow.
I don't feel like getting him worked up. Let me stop. It's a lot. I like I heard a Bernard King reference. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
You look at the history of just how much solid scorer he was. I think that one would have been a good pick. I saw Brandon Roy. I thought about that today as I saw some. I was like, ooh, Brandon Roy. But my two, I feel like they're going to be status quo typical in a sense of just saying it. T-Mac is my pick to pick someone. And then because Derrick Rose was a given, I do agree. To me, it is either T-Mac, Grant, or D Rose. But my two just to pick, allow me to defend these two. The first is going to be Shaquille O'Neal. If I would dare say, because Shaq, it was a lot of course, drive that people say, but really towards the tail end, a lot of injuries. And then you started seeing Shaq with knick-knack injuries. I can only imagine if Shaq had a healthy. I know he didn't have some of the devastating injuries that some of these other players we're talking about, but if injuries didn't derail Shaq, would we talk about Shaq as like some of these, because he gets skipped over so much and as dominant as he is, and I think he's one of those players I would like to see if he would have took it. I don't want to say Shaq didn't take it serious, but if he would have took it serious, that's just the best way you can say it. And what would his career have been like? And so he's my pick, of course, away from the obvious. I just think that Shaq would have been just a good one because injuries derailed greatness along with other things. But towards that tail end, I mean, he was so dominant, and then even when we had that Shaq Yamin thing, and it wasn't really a Shaq Yamin thing, it was Shaq. But, it was just dominance. My next is my version of a Derrick Rose rant. And I just like to say this. This is my only thing I'm saying. With my GOAT that I'm throwing out there, had he not hurt his Achilles, what Kobe could have been. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Who knows? I'm just gonna. I know they're like, look. But
Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah,
they're already in the GOAT conversation.
No. Kobe's technically. Let me explain why I'm throwing Kobe out. Shaq, yes and no. Well, first Kobe, yes and no. But Shaq, nah. Shaq don't get GOAT conversations all the time. It's like, yeah, but I'm talking about. Let's think about it. If Shaq, we saying no injuries, right? What could have Shaq been? Shaq would have been what we see. Now, I'm throwing with Kobe out there. Now, hear me out. What I'm saying, because Kobe, when he was balling those last ones out there, like before he was going out, it was like he was willing the Lakers. We weren't good. We weren't all that solid. But I'm like, dang, what could have been? Like, what if Bron would have came and Kobe would have retired and came back? That's a lot of hypotheticals. So that's the only reason I'm throwing that out there to see as a Laker fan, the what if that could have happened. Famous homie with me. You seeing it though? Like, you know what I mean though? Like, if Kobe would have like had them not be injured, that's all I'm saying. But my overall pick, I'm gonna pick Shaq. I know y'all gonna say that's the GOAT, but injuries took Shaq a lot of Shaq stuff away. So
I don't think nobody's saying Shaq is the GOAT. It's just both of them are. We talking about guys that like we not even having them in the conversation, like the guys you just named.
But Shaq is where I'm throwing the argument as Shaq. I look at this conversation, somebody who would have took over the Jordan conversation, right? Mm-hmm. So to me, that would have been Shaq, like an uninjured Shaq. Nobody would have stopped that.
We talking about injury-prone players. Though.
I mean, that's what's gonna defend your boy. Who you gonna? But Shaq was injury-prone. That's why I'm throwing it out there. Shaq was injury-prone.
But Shaq got 4 titles and finals.
What would have happened with no injuries? That's what I'm saying.
See, Shaq's
the Lakers would have.
Though it wasn't injuries that derailed Shaq. Laziness derailed Shaq.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Overweight.
Who you got? The famous homie.
Overweight. It wasn't injuries that derailed Shaq. Shaq was eating cheeseburgers all summer and coming into camp at 370 instead of coming in basketball shape. Like, it wasn't injuries that derailed Shaq. Shaq's laziness and lack of work ethic that derailed his career. It was self-inflicted. His injuries were self-inflicted. So I can't say Shaq. Shaq was lazy. Shaq didn't do anything in the summertime. He would be the first to tell you that. And it derailed him from doing anything as far as, expanding his career. So Shaq, I'm going to take him off that list. As far as all the other guys, they are good. They do have good potential, all of them. Not gonna shit on none of these guys. They all had great potential. I do have to speak on the Derrick Rose thing a little bit. I'm a fan of Derrick Rose, but to sit up here and say that Derrick Rose would be that man if it wasn't for that, that's complete cap. Because in the history of the NBA, there's only been one guard that's 6'3" and under to lead teams to titles and to enter that, and that's Stephen Curry. I mean, Zeke did it in 1989 and 1990, but that's it. 6'3" point guards, they don't do that. It's not common in the NBA. In Derrick Rose's game, he didn't have a jump shot. He didn't have a huge bag of tricks, a bag of handles. He was just super athletic, freak of nature, super bounce, smart player, but he didn't really have a bag of moves like that. So it's hard for me to say that Derrick Rose would have did that. He didn't expand his game like that. So, it's hard to say. It's hard to say with him. He didn't have the tools. He was just this super freakishly athletic guy. So I wouldn't pick Derrick Rose with that. All the rest of these guys, of course, the Brandon Roys of the world. Brandon Roy, Kobe gave him mad love. Kobe said Brandon Roy was a bad boy. This was in his 3rd year, and he was. Kobe used to have a lot of trouble with Brandon Roy. He had all the skills offensively. Penny Hardaway, I'm not so sold on because Penny was great. Penny could have been great, but at the same time, I don't think Penny and Shaq, would have got past Mike in the East anymore. They had 3 more years of Mike after they beat him. I think they would have lost all 3 years. So.
See, that's what happened.
That's what happens when you're talking about D Rose like that. How dare you be disrespectful to D Rose? Saying, did it?
Call me. I got the phone call.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yeah. Okay. They're calling you like, stop saying that.
No, I think Penny definitely he could have. I don't know.
Penny.
I think when we say how great Penny could have been, I don't think Penny would have been anywhere close to what Kobe did with Shaq. Shaq got maximized by Kobe. They won 3 titles straight. It couldn't have got no better than that. So that's all I'm saying about Penny. So the guy that I'm choosing is Grant Hill. Grant Hill had all the skills. He was an all-around. He was LeBron before LeBron. Grant Hill could put 25 on you. He dropping 10 assists. He getting 8 rebounds. And he's winning. He has scrubs on his team, and he was making the playoffs with scrubs on his team. So Grant Hill had a high ceiling before he started getting those freak injuries. Grant Hill was that dude. Grant Hill was the best, most polished player at a young age that I've ever seen at that age before Kobe and them started coming along. Grant Hill was that guy. So I'm going to choose Grant Hill. And if I had to pick somebody else, just for argument's sake, which one of you guys said earlier, I think Magic with the AIDS thing. I agree with you, too, on the Kobe thing, too. I do. Kobe, but I'm not going to say that.
Magic like Shaq, though. Magic like Shaq.
Magic had AIDS.
Magic, Shaq, they're all
I think Magic could have battled Mike in the 90s, in the early part of the 90s for a couple of those titles. I think Magic could have battled Mike for that. And this GOAT thing would be, Magic could have 6, 7, 8 titles if he wouldn't have got AIDS. So my pick is Grant Hill and probably Magic. That's my pick.
Before you go, Caleb, can I read something right quick? Let me read something right quick, Caleb. Let me read this.
I just want to say one thing about the comment. Magic Johnson had HIV, not AIDS. Y'all niggas fucked up.
I'm bad. HIV. My bad.
HIV, my bad.
Hey, Magic.
HIV. He didn't have those.
Can I read something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Grant Hill versus D Rose. Championships. Both have none. 18 years in the league for Grant Hill. 14 for D Rose. Playoff appearances. 8 for Grant. 8 for D Rose. All-Star games. 7 for Grant. 3 for D Rose. Season MVP. D Rose has 1. Grant 0. All-Star. First team. Grant Hill has 1. D Rose has 1. All NBA team. Grant Hill has 5. D Rose has 1. Rookie of the year. They're tied. Regular season. Points per game. Grant Hill averaged 16.7. Derrick Rose averaged 17.7.
Mm-hmm.
Rebounds. Give it to Grant Hill. He has 6 rebounds. Derrick Rose had 3. Assists. Derrick Rose had 5. Grant had 4. Steals. Grant had 1. D Rose had 0.8. Blocks. Grant has 6. 0.6. D Rose has 0.3. Now let's go to where it really counts, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk playoffs. Grant Hill's average in the playoffs is 13.4.
Ooh.
Derrick Rose average in the playoffs is 21.9. Grant Hill in the playoffs, 6 rebounds. Derrick Rose, 4. Assists, 3. Derrick Rose, 6. Playoffs, steals. Grant Hill, 0.9. D Rose, 0.9. Grant Hill blocks, 0.5. D Rose, 0.5. Enough said about Grant Hill.
And by the way, real quick, Penny Hardaway and Shaq did make it to a finals.
Mm-hmm.
And they beat Jordan them. Didn't they beat Mike and them or pass them or something like that?
And they got swept.
But they still made it. None of them other guys did. Just saying.
Yeah, all right, man.
Grant Hill didn't sniff the finals.
He didn't have a track either.
That is true.
So you know who got my pick?
Paul George.
Paul George. You already know who
He hasn't sniffed the finals.
Paul George. If Paul George wouldn't have injured his leg over there playing for the USA team, Paul George was a different beast. He was going head-to-head with LeBron. He was the only youngster in the game that could even fuck with LeBron at the time. because LeBron was a different beast.
That's a
And
lot.
then even when he
But
came
he
over to
didn't get
LA,
over the
if
hump.
even when he came over here to LA, if he was able to stay healthy and Kawhi was able to stay healthy, we was already in the Western Conference Finals. We just gave it up to the Suns.
Western
I'm gonna change my pick to the Kawhi Leonard.
So I have to go with Paul George. You know what I'm saying? Even at a fraction of who he used to be, look at all the accolades he didn't put up. And if you compare his numbers to Derrick Rose, besides that one MVP, yeah, blow that boy out the water.
Oh wait, there's one thing I forgot to pull that up because I knew you were going to say that. Do you know that your boy Paul George said that when he played Derrick Rose in the playoffs, he thought he did real good against him, and he said Derrick Rose was unguardable, and Derrick Rose dropped 40 on him. Enough said.
I think I
Drop
just want to
40 on
say,
him, dude.
it's the list to me
All
is
right,
always going to
man.
be Grant Hill, but Derrick Rose is a great pick because when D Rose came in, like it just like he feels that. You remember how like when somebody you always gonna think about the all-star on the team. You think Celtics, you'll think Bird or now Tatum and all them. You think Lakers, you'll think Kobe. You think Clippers, and you think Clippers. And like, but like mad respect to D Rose though, because when he came in, he didn't feel like the Jordan void, but like he came in and it was the hometown kid that just represented. And I think that's ultimately for me sentimentally why D Rose is a great pick.
And
All right,
reason why D Rose
Let's
is
move
better
on.
than everybody else is because he's the only active player that has his jersey retired. Everybody else was able to pick up their number. You can't wear number 1 in Chicago. Enough said.
All right, man. Let's get to this next topic, man. So, LeBron James Jr., Bronny James, suffered cardiac arrest at practice. He is out of ICU and recovering. That is all the news that has been reported. What are y'all thoughts on Bronny James' cardiac arrest situation and what possibly could have been the cause for this?
Sad.
You know what? When are people gonna start listening? Let's just think about this logically. All of us have hooped. We played sports in high school. Y'all know that we grew up in the Hell Week era, right? When it was Hell Week, you had to literally go through hell getting ready for football training. Basketball training, what we did with our conditioning coach, we used to practice when the football players practiced, like not with them, but we had conditioning during that time, and that shit was hell. Cats used to throw up, but you never saw anybody collapsing on the court. Now, we've seen this over the last 3 years multiple times with athletes, young athletes by that. Demir Hamilton, the college player that collapsed, I don't know his name, now Bronny, and a couple other people. We've been seeing this pop up a lot over the last 3 years. What happened 3 years ago? What is in our bodies, in some of these guys' bodies that wasn't in their bodies before that? There's only one logical explanation, okay? The COVID jab. The jab. Now, I know we don't know if Bronny for surely took the jab, but we know that a lot of these athletes had to take the jab around that time to continue to play. We know Bron had to take it because he's an NBA player. And, I don't know if Bron is a supporter of the jab or not. And this is not to be sensitive for Bron because, I'm a father of a son too. So I feel for the man for sure. My son kind of low-key had an incident. He fell on his head and he collapsed, but that's because he had a concussion. But so I feel that I feel Bron. I had to be in the hospital with my son, and it's the scariest thing ever. But I think it was a COVID jab. Now I do have a source that does work at a certain club that Bronny goes to, and says that Bronny be in there doing the most. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if it had anything to do with the consumption of something that he's not supposed to be, maybe drugs or something. Don't want to throw that on him, but because we had this stuff happening to people like Hank Ganders in the 70s or whenever that happened. But this type of shit, it does not happen like that. And to see this happening to so many young athletes now around the world, in the last 3 years since this COVID shit been out, the COVID jab is new. That shit we're in the experiment part. They don't know all the side effects right now. A lot of these vaccines that we got, it takes years and years and years and years of research and study and testing and development to get this shit right. So they made up this damn vaccine in 2 minutes and then start giving it to niggas. Niggas don't know if that shit is safe for them. So is it a coincidence that all these young athletes have been collapsing on the court, that's been hooping their whole lives and having this crazy workout regimens? That Bronny is the son of LeBron James, one of the 5-6 greatest players to ever play the game. You know what I'm saying? He's been training with his daddy forever. You mean to tell me all of a sudden his body can't handle a practice at an SC practice? Stop it. Wake up, y'all. It's the COVID jab. It's that bullshit that everybody put in their body and nobody wants to admit because nobody wants to be wrong that had this boy collapsing. And I feel for the James family, and definitely prayers go out to the James family for that, and hope Bronny gets better. Hope he gets to hoop again, but he don't have to hoop again because his daddy a billionaire and he could do something else. But I think definitely, I ain't gonna stand down. That's the COVID jab that's doing this to people, and people don't want to admit it when they're wrong, but just admit when you're wrong about that bullshit.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, praying for Bronny, and for the family as well. I'm sure that's, devastating. To hear your child, just suddenly collapsed and know exactly what's going on, exactly what happened. So, just praying for the family, praying that he's still, okay and recovering, and hopefully, that he can get on the court again. I mean, because that's just a matter of, we're not talking about basketball, really. We're talking about his life. So, not just getting on the court again, but also just, being able to, function again and continue with school because, he's at USC now. He's a freshman at USC. So, just praying for him and the family, first and foremost. I mean, it could be a whole bunch of things, man. Yes, he's also a young athlete. He could have just overexerted himself, overexerted his heart. A lot of young people, experience having bad hearts. Like the movie John Q, right? His son, had a bad heart and they had to do a full transplant. I mean, obviously, and that was a movie and that kid was younger, but still, like those things can happen. And you don't necessarily know what's fully going on in someone's body. It could have been something that they, the physicals, the doctors who did the physicals, just missed. And so, he's been playing basketball since he was a little kid. So, years and years and years of that. I mean, it's just like football. You play football years and years and years. By the time you make it to the pros, or college, that's when you might start becoming injury prone because you've been playing it for so long. And so, hopefully it's nothing, nothing bad with his heart where he doesn't have to have a transplant or something like that. Obviously, again, he's recovering. So, it seems like he's, everything's going to be okay. But yeah, just praying for the family because that's devastating, especially for him. He has aspirations, to continue in his father's legacy and footsteps. And so, just praying for him, man, and hopefully, everything's all right. And, he'll be able to get back into life and then hopefully get back on the court and start hooping, hooping soon.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm with Rock. I think, both, you can say either way because at the end of the day, it's just hopefully, he's good. It's good to hear. I haven't checked on any new reports, so if he's doing better, that's always a plus. I would just say that when it comes to like things with cardiac arrest, I mean, there's so many like things. I mean, it could be a shot, could not be a shot. I don't really get in all that personally. But like for me, I'll just say that, stress. You don't know what my man was up to. You don't know how his life was going, and it's one of those weird situations, man, because you don't never want to. You don't want nobody going. A decent ass human being don't want no fucking body going through some shit like that. I do point out the stuff when I first saw it. I had to go to the comments because what I'm saying. I like seeing the weirdos. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, y'all, it's really weird people out there. It just reminds me of just like that people really be preying on people's downfall. But I just think, it's sad. Hopefully he bounced back. I think somebody mentioned earlier, Shaq's son went to something similar.
Yeah.
Like
Yep, he did.
That one rocked me too because I was like, because they babies at the end of the day, and I think us as fans of the game too, it's tough because you see, like we all remember Shaq's kid, and you see him now grow up, and you know what I'm saying, you kind of feel a part when you're not really a part like that. You're like, you know what I'm saying, you wishing them the best. So when you see things like this, it's never good. But it's one of those things where I think it's just more important too for us as black men to get checked up, get a good doctor. Find a doctor, go do your checks, get all that stuff, and hopefully the check don't come with no extra bullshit. They actually looking at you and hopefully got their best interest for you. So it'll be hopefully he'll bounce back. He's stronger. Well, I ain't gonna say hopefully he is bouncing back. He'll be stronger. I just want to send that good energy to his way, you know, and yeah. So it just sucks and stress. Check your stress levels too, you know. So yeah.
No, I agree with everybody. You have no idea what caused it. They can be different things. I mean, back in the day, y'all remember when you were in school and they told you, oh, you couldn't play open chess and you couldn't hit each other in the chest. Well, that's because if you hit somebody in the chest at a certain point in time, you can actually cause cardiac arrest on somebody. I learned that in the EMT. And so you don't know. A lot of things can be a factor. Could it be COVID? Could it be? Could it be maybe he didn't even take the shot? Maybe he got COVID though, but he just got COVID and it's in his system. That could be it as well. Maybe he is highly under stress because his daddy is LeBron James. There ain't no different than like how you guys said. Hey, Shaq is your daddy. When it comes to cardiac, you have no idea, and it just reminds me of actually my favorite movie, like 6 Man. If you ever seen 6 Man with Marlon Wayans, what happened to his brother? He went up for the dunk, and then all of a sudden, boom, you know. So we don't know, but at the end of the day, we praying for him. We all fathers up in here, and like we got nieces, nephews, people we care about that are young. So, like Devontae said, get checked out. Make sure your health is right, and you know, if the game of basketball is still something that he can do, then hey man, more power to him. But also have enough strength inside of yourself to walk away if you got to. I know we talked about the whole GOAT thing, but if you go back to Brandon Roy, keep in mind he had to stop playing the game of basketball just to be able to walk. And so he had to stop the game that he loved for the bigger picture. So maybe it's not in Bronny's real legacy to follow after his daddy, but do something different. Maybe it's to help out other athletes that have cardiac problem as well. You never know. So just prayers to his family, man.
Before you move on, Caleb, I gotta say one more thing. Okay, so we gotta look at the facts and stuff. So we can't compare Shareef O'Neal to what happened to Bronny. Shareef O'Neal had a completely different condition. You know, he had it's called a right anomalous coronary artery. That's completely different. So Bronny stuff is being linked. I don't know if anyone else heard the reports, but it's being linked to myocarditis, and that's linked directly to the COVID shot. That's what the COVID shot has in it. So if you look at the facts and stuff, you know, we can't dismiss the facts of stuff and try to compare situations. You know, Shareef did go through it, but Shareef shit was, I believe, before COVID happened, Shareef went through that. And his was a different case. So, you know, it's all speculation still. We don't know. But the new reports is coming out saying that, you know, he has that condition and it's an uncurable condition. And this is something that is going to prevent him from being a, you know, continuous professional career. At the end of the day, would you want I'm sure Bron don't want his son to risk possible death over playing basketball. He just wants his son alive because his son could keep the James legacy going with more than just basketball. They're smart. It's a smart family. Savannah's smart, LeBron's smart, so he don't have to play basketball. So I'm just glad the boy didn't die and he's able to continue his life and it don't destroy his parents because, Bron would have been destroyed if that happened. We know Bron would have probably retired from basketball, but I'm just glad that
I would have.
okay.
Yeah, man. Prayers go up to the LeBron James family, Bronny James, praying for a speedy recovery. That's just some crazy, like, it happened out of nowhere, something completely unexpected. But let's get to this Justin Herbert news, man. So Justin Herbert signed a contract for $262 million, and he jumped over Lamar Jackson, and now he is the highest paid player in NFL history. What are y'all thoughts on this? On the LA Chargers paying Justin Herbert this money? Is this just the market and they're trying to get in early? He still had 2 years on this deal. What was the motive behind giving Justin Herbert this deal early? And why are you looking to pay him all this money? Is he worth it? What's your thoughts?
To be honest with y'all, I only paid attention to like the first two topics on here, so I put all my energy in my Derrick Rose. But so I got some questions. Question number one is, where were the Chargers at? Like, where did they end up? Did they end up in like the Super Bowl?
Better than the Raiders.
They lost to the Jaguars in the playoffs.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, in the play. Was it like the first round of the playoffs?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, they lost in the first round of the playoffs. Oh, okay, cool. So they didn't make the Super Bowl. They lost in the first round of the playoffs. Is this really them trying to lock him in, or is it really to show us as people that, you know, hey, yeah, we paid you, black man, but this is what white quarterbacks get. That's all I'm saying. That's all I got.
You not so far off, y'all. You are not far off. That's kind of the angle I was approaching, because I mean, people don't want to talk about this. People don't want to say this. People want to be politically correct, but y'all already know I don't give a fuck. That's white privilege at its finest. That dude is garbage. He isn't half the quarterback Lamar Jackson is. He has no business getting paid more than Lamar Jackson or anywhere close to that. This has been the thing for years with these quarterback situations. We have all these garbage, trash, boo-boo ass white quarterbacks who have had these long ass careers, and I can name numerous of them, and they just don't belong. Vinny Testaverde played a long time, and he was an intersection king. I know it's probably before some of y'all era, but that dude was horrible.
I remember Vinny.
Vinny was horrible, and he stayed in the league for like 20 years. He was around forever. You know, the Rams quarterback, what's his name?
Kurt Warner.
What's the Rams quarterback? Somebody help me.
The new one?
Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford,
man. Matthew Stafford is not good like that. And he's been around. He keep getting opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. What's the Atlanta? Matt Ryan. All these quarterbacks less than average, and you see these guys stay around and get this bread and get all these opportunities. But you see cats like, you know, Michael Vick and cats like that who, I know he has a dogfighting thing, but he came back to the league and Michael Vick was hella talented. You know what I'm saying? So Lamar Jackson is an MVP. He's been in the playoffs. He's done some amazing things. He's incredibly talented. He can run the ball. He can throw. He got the cannon. He got everything. And they let this motherfucker come and get more money than him to make a statement. They don't want a black man to be the highest paid player in the league. Are you kidding me? This is definitely a statement by the NFL, because there ain't no way in the world that trash-ass quarterback should be anywhere close to making the earnings that Lamar Jackson is making. You know what I'm saying?
I just want to chime in. So, speaking of all of that, it reminds me of Cam Newton right now.
Right.
Why is Cam Newton out the league, but we got bums like Matt Ryan still in the league? And this is a perfect example of how the MVP, JC champion, won at Auburn, won an MVP, all of that, and he's out of the league. And they said he's out of the league not because of his skill set, but because his attitude and ego is too big to be a backup quarterback.
That's
I got one more.
Okay,
I got
exactly
one
my
more
point.
question.
That's another.
Who had a better season? Justin or Geno Smith? Okay, I'm done.
Exactly. That's exactly falls into a point I'm trying to make. I'm glad you brought up Cam Newton. Cam Newton is 6'6". He has a cannon himself. He's still a very, very capable quarterback, and he can't even get a damn job. His ego is too big. Like, what? His ego is big? Because someone likes to celebrate, but they don't get mad at Aaron Rodgers for doing he gets to celebrate. You know what I'm saying? Looking goofy as fuck. They don't get mad at Tom Brady celebrating and all. It's always too much when a black man is doing that. We doing too much. We got too much ego. We got too much attitude. We got too much this. We got too much that. People don't want to talk about this, but it's always about race. It's always about race. Don't get it fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right, Ronnie. Race always is a factor. I will say this. As far as with the league, it's a quarterback league. We was talking about this with the running back situation last week, right? It's a quarterback driven league. And so, and it's also a league where, you can get what teams are willing to give you, right? And so the Chargers were willing to give him this money. They feel like, he's an investment that they're willing to invest in. And not for nothing, Lamar got paid, Deshaun Watson got paid, Mahomes got paid, Jalen Hurts got paid. All of these black quarterbacks who deserve their money did also get paid. Yes, there's always a motive of racism, especially in the damn NFL. We know that. But right now that's just where the market is as far as with money. And so, there's going to be other quarterbacks that are going to get paid way more than Justin Herbert. I mean, again, as we see in the NBA, Jaylen Brown's about to get $60 million per year, but we all know he's the second best player on the Celtics, right? So eventually somebody else is going to get paid more than him. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. Somebody's going to, light it up and get paid way more than Justin Herbert. And a lot of it is based on, when your contract is up. I don't know what Geno Smith's contract is up or when he just got his contract, but if he performs again and they happen to make the playoffs, I'm sure he's going to be due some money. So, I mean, I would say that it's just about where the market is, and the Chargers are willing to pay that money, then pay him that money. They feel like, he's a good investment for that, then so be it. But, a lot of players got the NFL, NBA, all of these leagues now are just throwing around money. And giving these players money. It's crazy. It's crazy. What's his name? The French football player about to get what? They offering him $700 million for one season.
776 million.
But he's a good player and a great player, and they're willing to pay him that money and pay the $386 million transfer fee. That's insane. But they're willing to pay it. So, but shout out to Lamar Jacksons and the Jalen Hurts and the Watsons, those black quarterbacks for getting their money. Absolutely. Black men get paid.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I echo all the sentiment. It's the same. Like, I think when you see it, it's just to me, it should have been Lamar's money. I'm always going to feel that way because I respect him for betting on himself. But it is timing. Timing is everything. But we know what it is. I think what everybody says, I agree with. We know what the truth is of that. And I mean, I try not to argue against people's money unless you're Timothy Mozgov. That's the only time.
Hey, what about Lou Aldane?
Oh,
don't bring that one up. That's my brother being petty because I just got over that. He know, but he's an okay quarterback. Like, it's just like what they do. I'm a Raiders fan, but we pay the backup money. So what can I say? Like, I mean, I can't really. We should be paying our running back, but hey,
right.
I just think that
y'all paid a bum.
Come on, talk about it. But I just think that when you look at it, to me, the robbery. To me, I'm really interested to see, and I think his contract, they just did it, but I really want to see what Lamar and Jalen do. And I really root for both of them to win the Super Bowl because for us, it's always going to be performance-based. It's like we always have to exceed expectation to try to even break the glass ceiling. And it's like, it's old. Like, where, Other people do the bare minimum, they're gonna get whatever they want. And that's just it's crazy. But like at the end of the day, I think for when I look at Lamar, a quarterback who it just seems not that long ago was winning an MVP. They were talking about him, but now he's injury prone. Every player is injury prone. Like it can happen. Injuries happen, right? That's what I mean when that statement. Like you can't really control those things, but I just want to see what the our current black quarterbacks do, because I want them to get paid that way. I want them to get like a $776 million offer, and just to see it in my lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Because we shouldn't have to be waiting all the time, and I want it consistently. And I mean, I feel like slightly with Pat Mahomes. We'll see how good he is until they're done with him. That's just, and I hate to say it like that. It's like, and that's just because that's until it's done. But like when you look at Jalen and you look at Lamar, like I saw an ESPN thing where they said your top quarterbacks this season, and Jalen Hurts was like almost last. I was like, how? Like how? Like, and that's like that, but that's what it is. Like you're only as good as you perform that season. And it's like, so I don't really watch NFL too much like that. It get old, man. It's just constant disrespect. You don't want to pay the running backs.
Dave Carr was his wife.
But yeah, go ahead. I'm good. I'll start ranting. So
yeah, man, I think everybody's feelings towards the NFL is the same. The NFL definitely, after the whole Kaepernick situation, Kaepernick was my favorite player. I'm a Niner fan. So Kaepernick was my guy. So when they did my guy like that, it put a bad taste in my mouth. And even though I think the worst thing, two things in sports both changed the dynamics and it really affected the black community. And it's when Kaepernick chose to take that undisclosed money from the NFL to never say nothing again. And then second, when LeBron James chose to continue playing in the bubble to get the bubble championship. Those were two moments in history that if they would have went the other way, that would have made wonders for the black community. But because they decided to do what they did, man, you know what I'm saying? They always going for the bag. It's always the bag first, and it got to stop. But let's get to this G Herbo news, man. So rapper G Herbo was arrested, and he lied to the feds, and now he got caught up in all his lies, and now he pleads guilty to using stolen credit cards to pay for private jets, luxury cars, Airbnbs, and more. Did you guys hear about this story?
yes.
And this was back in the COVID days, and they was running it up with the PPP loans and getting them in other people's names and running up their credit and stuff. So what's your thoughts on this?
Same thing, like the quarterback, the rules don't apply. It's just like, I would say this is no different than, you remember those actors they caught like a year or so ago with their kids, sneaking their kids into colleges or paying for their kids to get in college? They only got
the girl from Full House.
Yeah, and they only got slapped on the wrist. It's the same thing. I mean, I don't agree with it. Let me say that first of all, because when it comes, that's just robbing Peter to pay Paul, and that's sadly just the music industry. Like you're always trying to like fake it until you make it. But I just think that's like, my concern would be I would like to see who the stolen credit cards were for. Was it our people that we did this to? But I just think it's one of those things that like they always watching, and if you do something, they're gonna find a way to catch you on something when it's us. But he should have just tried to pay for his kids to get into college. They would have let him go. That's how I look at it. That's my 2 cents on it.
Going off of what you said, though, like they're gonna put that out of what he did.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of when a company I used to work for, they got in trouble for doing something like that. Employees at that company did that.
Unplug my thing. You can't be saying.
I didn't say no names.
Look,
I'm just keeping it out. You know who my former employee is.
Yeah, let me unplug. I'm using that equipment. Let me unplug this right now. You ain't about to get me in trouble.
Yeah, so we'll scratch that. We'll keep going. But where I was really going with it is, there's this one NFL player that they just said it once and they just left it alone, and I still haven't left it alone. His name is Brett Favre, and I mean, didn't the man steal from people in Mississippi?
Yep. The welfare.
Still
the welfare money.
Yep.
What was like 74 million or something?
Yep. Ooh.
Yeah, to build a volleyball something for his daughter or something like that. Stadium or something.
Going back to what Devontae said, where he messed up is, black man, you put that in a private jet. You should have put that in your kids, and then they probably will leave you alone.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe not, because you're a black man.
Yes,
they wouldn't leave you alone because you're a black man. But they're going to blow this up and talk to it. Oh, you see this? This is why we don't play the black quarterback, and this is why we don't pay y'all black people, because y'all stealing anyway, and blah, 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 blah. But then Brett Favre gets away, not a slap on the wrist. I haven't heard anything. I didn't hear him go to court. I didn't hear nothing about him paying it back. The ESPN didn't come out and say nothing about it. I mean, what's that one girl's name? Malika Andrews or whatever? Yeah, she always, she got Jalen Rose fired, saying that he was in her armpit, but you ain't saying nothing about no Brett Favre. Nobody's saying nothing about when these white people do it, but then when the black people do it, it's all over the news. So the white people in America can see, this is why y'all should stay away from those black people. They're going to steal your credit cards and get private jets. While our people take it and build volleyball courts. That's all I think.
I'm more like, I hate the goofiness of it. So there's no way that American can be real for a second. And look at how this whole thing came about. If you guys believe that all these major corporations became who they are off of honest, hardworking money, you're truly delusional. All these big companies are from bullshit. It's from scamming shit. It's from dirty shit. All
slavery
is built on slavery. All this shit was built on bullshit. So that's the only thing that gets me is when us as black people, we are looked at when some of us do goofy shit like G Herbo and get caught up like this. People want to look at us a certain way, like we're no good people. We're scam artists. What white America is a scam artist? Are you serious? This whole country was built on bullshit. They came over here and slaughtered a whole fucking race and took over the country. Why do people like to forget about that? That's how this country was started. Niggas and Mexicans was over here. And they came over in Indians. And they come over here and slaughtered everybody and took over the land. The white Europeans, okay? So if that's not the biggest bullshit ever, killing people to take over something, that's worse than stealing someone's credit card. And then on top of that, it has happened throughout the years. Yes, we are the face of it. We are the face of drug dealers. But how the fuck do y'all think crack got into America? The government. Who controls the government?
The government.
White people. So let's stop the bullshit. Let's stop pointing black people out for all this scam shit and all the shit that we doing to get by because of where they put us. Let's hold accountability for everybody. Yes, G Herbo, why you being goofy and getting private jets and all that other stuff? Yes, there's this. I don't know if y'all heard the scamming dude that made the video about him being the best scammer ever and pretty much gave all the game away of how he be scamming people and put it on YouTube for clout. Now that type of goofy shit is something different. But my point is, I just hate how we are so stereotyped and we're looked at for certain things that we do when white America has been doing this shit from the beginning and no one bats a fucking eye.
The only difference is what we spend it on. This nigga's on private jets and buying luxury cars and he flexing all of this on Instagram once again.
Right.
That's how you get caught.
That's
it's the same shit over and over and over.
Right.
And I don't know how niggas keep getting caught. You don't show the shit on Instagram.
You don't show nothing. You don't show cash. You don't show none of that shit. Like, y'all niggas is hustling and doing all this stuff, and you guys are snitching on yourself. You self-snitching. Why are you snitching on yourself? So that's the thing. Like you said, what we spend it on, yeah, that's goofy as hell. But as far as the act of it, are we gonna sit up here and act like niggas is the only one that's scamming and doing all this shit? No, white people are doing that shit. Even when you look at welfare, people always want to throw the welfare tag on black people. Do y'all know that way more white people are on welfare than black people? Like, come on, stop the bullshit. Like, I'm just saying, I don't like how we are always put into a box and we're always put into a category as black people when white America has gotten away with this shit forever since the beginning.
Say Bernie Madoff and watch how a white person act. They'll be like, oh.
Don't forget on the last note, besides Brett Favre, don't forget a couple years ago when they made over $100 million something. There's this company that its owner, his name is Jeff, and his last name starts with a B, and he owns Amazon, and they paid this much in taxes.
Come on. Y'all don't think Donald Trump was eating off of EDD? That's the reason why he put it out. Donald Trump ate off of EDD. Come on, man. He a businessman. You don't think he ate? He ate, but he ain't flossing it on Instagram. He ain't flossing it on Twitter. He ain't gonna talk about it. But Donald Trump ass ate off of that shit. You better believe he ate off that shit.
Yeah, I'll just say this. Yeah, all of y'all make great points. And you're absolutely right. You know, it's always the system, right? And they always target specifically the music industry, specifically hip hop artists, rap artists. I'll say this. You know, I just hope and pray that we see less and less, especially of black artists doing stuff like this. Regardless, he did steal people's credit cards. I've had my shit stolen, and that's not cool. And so, you know, that's still illegal, regardless of, you know, again, all great points, you know, but he still did something illegal. And so I just hope that going forward, black artists really start getting the message and stop doing stuff like this, because you are immediately going to be targeted. They are checking all of your bank accounts, where you fly to, who you're associated with, who you're affiliated with. As we see with, you know, what's going on with Young Thug and all, who you are affiliated with is why, you know, most of them niggas be getting locked up or what have you, or, you know, now got to appear in court. So I just hope and pray that, you know, artists, specifically hip hop and rap artists, they just watch how they're moving and please stop doing stuff like this. Just please stop. Just don't even give them a reason. Let's not, you know, like, because again, they're looking at you regardless. And I don't get why hip hop artists don't understand that. Like, I don't. They're going to look at us.
They have a whole department. They have hip hop police.
As y'all alluded to, this country is set up that way to look at us, to see what we're doing, to get us in trouble. So let's stop doing that if we can, please. That's all I'm saying.
All right, man. Let's get to this last topic, man. So, you guys haven't known, Hunter Biden is on trial, which is Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe's son. This was the one that smoked some Parmesan thinking it was crack.
Smoking Joe.
Yes.
Smoking Joe.
So Hunter Biden is on trial right now for taking bribe money from other countries. So basically, they put him in fake positions within their companies. Like he's a fake CEO, and give him a position in which he does nothing and pays him a salary so that he can accept bribes. So that when Joe Biden won the election, now China and Turkey and all these people are due back favors because they put Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, in these positions. So he's on trial for taking bribes. So then he's supposed to have a whistleblower that was supposed to come in and spew all this information. But then the whistleblower didn't agree to come no more. So then they tried to call in as the opposing team's lawyer to the clerk's office and pose as them to get them to throw out the person's information and strike it from the case and got caught up.
Sound like a LinkedIn profile.
That sound like some crackhead stuff that you sent your lawyer to act like the other lawyer to get some shit that you added to the case, taking out the case.
Man.
Yeah, that's some the Departed shit right there. That movie, The Departed, that's a scene from that movie right there.
Straight up,
crazy.
That's wild, man.
So,
it's what we just talked about though. It's that same thing of where, you know, like, you know, for me, it's always gonna be the main word. I think somebody even said it here. It's just accountability, bro. Like, and what I love more in this digital age, people are getting exposed for stuff. That's why Amrock just said it too. It's like, you know, at this point, especially when our community, I'm only speaking of us, like, just stop doing dumb shit. Like, now I know this is not ours, so he should have been got in trouble for his shit, like, at this point. But we already know what the rules is with that.
They just found coke at the White House too.
They found coke at the White House?
Yeah, who you think?
It's literally the White House. Oh,
that's what we talked about that like 2 episodes ago.
Man,
they literally found coke at the White House. It was probably his.
It was a Christmas party. But it's crazy, man. Like, I'm not surprised. I just think it's at this point accountability, and I'm like, you know, if you do like if you do stupid shit, you're gonna get stupid results, and that's just what it is, bro. Like, it's just like, and like with that dude, like, it's like it's I ain't gonna even say it's sad. I'm more sad on G Herbo than him, but like, you know, like, it's just stupid, like, just stupid stuff. Like, if he did it, which it seems like he did, lock him up. He probably had the coke at the White House. Because, you know, when Joe, because, you know, Joe can't stay woke. That would have kept him up.
But then Joe needs to be impeached, because if your son took the bribes, then guess what? He took it on behalf of the Biden family, so you're involved. It's actually quotes where they're saying that he's been in meetings with these people and called Joe several times and put Joe on speakerphone with these people to help assure their promises so that he can get these positions to get the money.
Joe trying to get the bag.
It's the Biden family. It's not just Hunter. It's the whole family that's getting this money. And Trump came out in his speech the other day talking about how all the Biden family is getting all this money from all these fake positions in these countries, in these companies overseas, and they ain't doing shit, never worked a day for them. It's bribe money.
They got fake position in my job.
That's where it goes to the unfair thing. What's gonna happen is, let's say us four, we're in a Suburban, right? And we going to go get something to eat. The homies say, pull over. I want to go get some blunts. Let me go into this liquor store. Y'all chill right here. And 10 minutes later, he running out shooting. And we all surprised, like, man, what the fuck you doing?
You just
robbed that store? You dumbass, like, what the fuck? Guess what? Everyone in that car is going to jail because we are guilty by what? Association. Okay, we were riding with him, and they're taking every last one of our black asses to jail because we were with him. We could say we didn't know, we could do all that, but they're still going to get all of us. So in this case, why ain't the same energy given? Why ain't the same energy given? I don't care if it was his son. He's doing this shit in the White House. Your ass need to go down right with his ass, just like how they would do us. So yes, I'm gonna always bring that up because it's forever a factor. It's things that we're going to face. We've been facing all of our lives, and we're forever going to face because that's how it is. But I'm just saying, I wish that it can be fair, and the same repercussions that we face, they would face. Biden and his whole administration needs to be impeached, and he needs to get his whole administration out of there because you are guilty by association. I don't care if it wasn't you that was doing it, but your son was doing it. So you're guilty too, sir. You're guilty too with your 98-year-old ass.
It's a guy, yeah. I already know what y'all gonna say. I already know what you're gonna
say.
Keep the same energy.
Yeah, keep the same energy. So let me talk about this dude, Smoking Joe, once again. Smoking Joe. Now, in certain states, ladies and gentlemen, if I was a child and I took my parents' firearm and I went up and I shot something up, do you know who gets charged for those murders? The parents do. Just like Ronnie was saying, he's been doing all this in the White House. This shows me one thing. If you can't, at the end of the day, I will always be a parent. At the end of the day, it don't matter if my kid's 50. It don't matter. My daddy is still my daddy, and my mama is still my mama at 35 years old. They will always be my parents. Joe, you will always be a parent. So, my way my head thinks about going into this next election, if you can't even control your son, how are you able to control the country? If you can't tell your son, hey man, why are you bringing that white? You can't even stop him from doing that. I mean, you can't even stand up straight because you're falling over. You don't know where the podium's at. You don't know a lot of stuff. Keep the same energy. Let's change it around. If that was Trump in office and he did the same thing, matter of fact, Trump was getting in trouble because of COVID or whatever the case may be, because he wasn't speaking right about COVID. Joe Biden don't get in trouble for nothing. He just gets away with it, and we ain't keeping that same energy. If you're going to be on one president's neck, be on the other president's neck as well. Keep the same energy. Stop letting Joe get away with everything. Stop letting these white people get away with everything. And we need to start going, no more. This man should be in jail. Because I would be in jail if it was me.
That.
Yeah, I'll say this as I say all the time. This is another distraction. This is nothing new. We know that all of these politicians have something going on, right? They did something in college. They did something, they doing stuff right now. They corrupt. They this, they that. This is nothing new. And their children, right? Their children be in college, committing crimes and doing drugs and this and that, and they cover it all up. This is nothing new. So that's why I say this is a distraction, something, again, that the White House or whoever throws out there to distract us from what's really going on. Again, Dos Santos down in Florida, again, passing and getting approved another crazy bill to take basically Black history and what happened to us in this country out of the history book, so our kids can't learn about their history within this country. There's a whole bunch of other things that's happening, in America and in the world that requires our attention. And I think that the White House a lot of times just throws this information out there, again, to distract us. Trump could have possibly thrown this information out there because, again, he's still trying to run from a jail cell. To me, it's all distractions from what's really happening, what's really going on out here. And we really need to be paying attention specifically to what they're trying to do to these children out here and how they learn and what they learn. They're attacking the kids for a reason, right? You as a kid, that's where you get all your knowledge. That's when you're the most pure, right? That's when you're taking a lot of stuff in. And so, we have to watch and pay attention to that. And this is just this ain't nothing. We all knew Hunter Biden was in some crazy stuff even before Joe got into office. I just think this is a pure distraction, trying to take our minds off of what's really going on out here.
Do we know Hunter was not behind the credit card scheme with G Herbo? I'm just throwing that out there.
He could have.
They know. They be knowing everything. They knew about it. They know. They know what's going on.
It's sad, man. It's sad. It's on us as Black people to stay on our shit and be on our grind, man. It's just, It's on us, like, to educate your people, take care of your people, and make sure your people keep them out of dumb shit. Like, we already know what the rules are for us, and I think it's constantly look out for your community, and it's also to held accountable. Like, you know, I'm getting to know y'all and vibe with y'all. It's even if I'm out doing some dumb shit, y'all check me because it comes to that shit at this point. Like, nah, bro, you on that goofy shit. Like, stop all that. Like, you know, because it just comes. I think like the famous homie said, and Amrock said, and my brother said. But I like what famous homie said because it's like, yeah, we about to ride with Vontae over here, and I'm about to go rob this bank. Like nigga, what? Like, you know, like it's like, don't be distracted by the smoke and mirrors, but like look out for your people shit. So
the corruption in this government is hilarious. This is why I watch politics. I watch politics and I'll be dying laughing at this shit. Like, this can't be real. They're like, and then one thing they never talk about though is the fucking money though. They talk about everything else, but you never hear them say, hey, America made this much dollars today, and that's how much we spent, and this is what we spent the money on, and this is what we're gonna do with the money in the future. You never hear none of that shit.
And real quick, have y'all ever heard a politician answer the question?
ooh,
No. It's conjecture every time.
Ooh.
Not one time.
Not one time.
And that's what's being politically correct. They even got a term for it. Not answering the question is being politically correct.
Mm-hmm.
That shit dumb as hell. Let's get some shout outs before we get up out of here.
Yeah, I just want to say shout out to you guys. Shout out to PolitiKan as always. Shout out to you guys. It's always a pleasure to be on here. Yeah, man, just everybody stay blessed, everybody stay strong, keep your mental going, eat the right foods, put the right foods in your body, drink a lot of water, especially because it's hot. I know it's hot over there in Cali, it's hot over here too, in the DMV. So, just appreciate you guys. It's always great to come on this platform and talk what we do, right? So always shout out to PolitiKan.
Oh, shout out to man, always like this is my second one, so shout out to y'all for having me again. I'm enjoying these Wednesdays. It's a lot of fun. I do, per my wife, have to go back and shout out my people in Boston. I came on last time and disrespected Boston. So it was a lot of good brothers and sisters in Boston I vibe with. So let me give my apologies. I had a good time at Slade's. But now, other than that, just I encourage all of us, all my people, all black people, just stay up. Like, just stay up. Look out for your people. Hold each other accountable, and just be there for one another. Like, you know what I'm saying? We need each other through these times like that. And once again, shout out to y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
Shout out to everybody that continues to listen, audio and on the visual tip. Everybody for committing to this. Everybody has their own lives and careers and wives and girlfriends and kids and all this other shit that we got to do, and for us to come on here weekly to do that. So shout out to everybody for doing that, shout out to the people that's continuing to work with us on the side and other things that PolitiKan Broadcasting is doing. On top of that, Mighty Media Day coming up, Media Madness August 26th. We're running it back from last year, so make sure y'all pull up and be there. But now, shout out to everybody that's been fucking with the brand, because we've been working very hard and very diligently, doing our thing for the last 3 or 4 years. So shout out to everybody to continue to work with us.
Shout out to all you gentlemen. I appreciate all you guys. And special shout out to Caleb. I want to give a special shout out to Caleb because I've been waiting for like 4 or 5 years to be able to get my rocks off and say my piece about my Derrick Rose, and I finally got to do it. So, shout out to Derrick Rose. I defended you. There was no debate. Who's the greatest of this? It's Derrick Rose, and that's how we're gonna end it. Derrick Rose.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we got a lot of work to do, man. It's crazy because I like to watch Nipsey Hussle interviews because he had a lot of words of wisdom. And he's saying, when it starts to feel like it's a lot, like it feels like it's overwhelming, like that's when you're on the right track. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. I had a meeting at work. I didn't get off till 4:30. I came straight home, took my dogs out, created the podcast, went straight into the podcast. I literally basically ain't had no break since 5 this morning. But that's the hunger that you gotta have if you really want to get to your success. Anybody see anything any accolades you feel like I'm doing? I got all of this shit all off the grind, all off the strength, all off the hustle. And if it wasn't for you gentlemen like y'all joining me on this path, I don't know if I could stay motivated to keep waking up and doing this shit every day. So shout out to y'all, man, for coming with me on this journey. You know what I'm saying? Being on your own journey, which helps motivate me to stay on mine. You know what I'm saying? And keep this grind going every day because, you know what I'm saying, where we were to compare to where we are and compare to where we're going, we just getting started, man. PolitiKan the podcast. We're about to
You want to stop me? You're going to have to fucking kill me!
Smoking Dank Sinatra, that's all gas. On the hunt in the tall grass. Intercepting every ball pass, then I run it back, that's a TD. Check the scoreboard, y'all last. We up one, you see me. Pussy niggas wanna talk about it, go to Hellcat, no demon. I be politicking on your broadcast at the red carpet like the famous homie. Ask your bitch, really famous homie, and you know it's